So far this week, I've been piling on poor old Jacob, showing how he schemed to take his older brother's birthright and his blessing. In this series, I'm looking at both schemers and dreamers in the Bible. And as it turns out, Jacob fits both of these categories. Today, we'll look at one of the most famous and memorable dreams in all of human history. We call it the dream of Jacob's ladder. Hello, I'm Stuart Baskin, pastor of First Presbyterian Church of Tyler, Texas, and this is your daily devotional for Wednesday, October 18th, 2023. After Jacob had taken his brother's blessing, he wisely picked up and left town. Actually, his mother advised him to leave so that Esau would not kill him, and she planted the suggestion in their father Isaac's mind to send Jacob back to their ancestral homeland in Haran to find a wife from among their own people. As an aside, the writer sets this up nicely earlier on, just prior to the episode where Jacob steals Esau's birthright. It's an easy detail to miss, but it provides the context for today's episode, so let me read it. It's very short. It says, "When Esau was 40 years old, he married Judith, daughter of Beeri the Hittite, and Basemath, daughter of Elon the Hittite, and they made life bitter for Isaac and Rebekah." Those pesky Hittite women. Actually, Rebekah just used this as her pretense for having Isaac send Jacob back to Haran to marry someone from their own people. After she's helped Jacob steal Esau's blessing, she says to Isaac, "I am weary of my life because of the Hittite women. If Jacob marries one of the Hittite women, such as these," meaning such as Esau's wives, "one of the women of the land, what good will my life be to me?" That background aside, Jacob now leaves Canaan to locate his uncle Laban, Rebekah's brother, in hopes that he will help him find an Aramean woman to marry. Now we come to the story of the schemer's dream. He's apparently not gone all that far, for we find that he's still somewhere in Canaan. The writer doesn't tell us exactly where, but just says a certain place. Nighttime comes and Jacob prepares to sleep. He takes a rock for a pillow and lays his head down. That's where we pick up the text. Jacob dreamed that there was a ladder set upon the earth, the top of it reaching the heaven, and the angels of God were ascending and descending on it. And the Lord stood beside him and said, "I am the Lord, the God of Abraham your father, and the God of Isaac. The land on which you lie, I will give to you and your offspring, and your offspring shall be like the dust of the earth, and you shall spread abroad to the west and to the east and to the north and to the south. And all the families of the earth shall be blessed in you and in your offspring. Know that I am with you, and will keep you wherever you go, and will bring you back to this land, for I will not leave you until I have done what I have promised you." With that, Jacob woke up from his sleep and said, "Surely the Lord is in this place, and I did not know it." So Jacob takes the stone on which his head lay, sets up a pillar and pours oil on it to consecrate it, and calls the place Bethel, which means house of God. Then he makes a vow to God that if God will keep him safe, he will have the Lord as his God, and give to the Lord a tenth of all that God gives him. It's a powerful scene and one of the most memorable in the entire Bible. I remember as a child drawing Jacob's ladder, as have untold numbers of children before and since. The most important piece of the story, though, is not what Jacob says, does, or vows. It's what God says. God reiterates the covenant he had made with Abraham when he called Abraham to leave Haran and journey to the land that God would show him, which we know was the land of Canaan. The covenant promise is not only that God will give to Jacob's offspring the land, and not only that Jacob's offspring will be as numerous as the dust of the earth. The promise is that God will bless all the families of the earth through Jacob and his offspring. I cannot emphasize just how significant this covenant promise is. We often remember only the first two parts, land and descendants. But it is the calling, the purpose, the vocation of Jacob's offspring that is really important. They are to be a blessing to the world on God's behalf. This is important because God's covenant is universal in scope and was from the very beginning. The covenant with Israel is not just about Israel, it is about the whole world. Turns out, God's grace and God's faithfulness do not depend on human character. A schemer named Jacob becomes the vehicle for the blessing of the whole world. That is always important for us to remember. Tomorrow, the schemer falls victim to a scheme himself. But for now, may God continue to bless you and keep you in all that you do this day and in all the days ahead.